Officially summertime. People are hosting cookouts. They've got fire pits going on. They're grilling. We're doing all the things that can pose a fire risk. You need to know how to stay safe. That's why we have Dee Shelton from the Greensboro Fire Department here with us today. She's a fire and life safety educator, and she's going to be giving you the do's and the don'ts of fire safety, bike safety, smoke alarm safety. You got it, right? She's got it. All right, so text us your questions that you might have for her. The number is 336-379-5775. You can get your question answered in real time. All right, first and foremost, let's kind of go over this, the whole smoke alarm thing, because mine was just beeping the other day, right, which is telling me my battery needs to be changed. But it's not just the battery that needs to be changed with smoke alarms.
Right. The actual alarm needs to be changed out every 10 years. So if your alarm if you've been in a home and it's been there more than 10 years, you need to change that out as well. It doesn't matter how it's powered, it still needs to be changed in 10 years.
Okay, it doesn't matter even if it's hooked up to the system like within your house, it's also hardwired in. You need a brand new smoke alarm every 10 years.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you could see like what the year is if you took off the smoke alarm. It should have it on the back.
Yes, when you give it that little quarter turn and pull it out of the holding mechanism, it'll come down. You can see all the fine print on the back. There is a date stamped on there, not one that somebody wrote, but stamped on there from the manufacturer. That is the date that it was made. Add 10 years to that, and that tells you when it expires.
All right, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there who are like, I am not crawling up there to see what the date is. I'm sure it'll just work. And you say what to that?
That is absolutely not true. And it's not like a light bulb or a light switch. It doesn't just turn off automatically at 10 years, but it does begin to decline in its accuracy. The sensor that has radiation in it, the radiation dissipates over the years, leaving it less accurate or less likely to go off in a home fire.
All right, so maybe you're overdue to change that smoke alarm this weekend. You might be able to get one put in right there by the fire department. Let's talk about Smoke Alarm Saturday.
Yep, so it's a statewide campaign that's run by the Office of the State Fire Marshal, and Greensboro Fire Department is participating this year, as in all of them in the past. And what we do is each station will pick an area in their territory that they feel like needs some assistance. They will hit that area. But if they don't come knocking on your door, it's okay. You're not at a loss. You can always call us on the alarm line at 336-373-2576 or ALRM and request that smoke alarm, and we'll come out and assist you with that.
Okay, and that really kind of goes along with most departments. They kind of act that same way. And Smoke Alarm Saturday, you heard her say, is a statewide event. So if you don't live in Greensboro or Guilford County, you call your local fire department and see if you can get the help that way. And if they can't come on that day, again, like they said, this is kind of like a year-round thing that fire departments do. All right, so you've also got something else going on this week. This is a busy week for you guys.
It's a very busy week.
You're talking about bike safety.
Yes. So tomorrow is World Bike Day. So we are hosting an event at Burr Mill Park from 5:30 p.m. till 7:30 p.m. Our trail bike team will be out there during that time. You can come out, bring the kids. Don't forget your helmet, because you have to have a helmet. But we can do some safety teaching, training. There will be coloring books and giveaways. There'll be maybe a couple of bike vendors in the city. And we will be hosting a ride with that bike team starting at 6:30. So you don't want to miss that. That'll be fun.
Yep, and I'm glad that you brought up the helmet. The helmet's kind of a thing. And I saw it at a garage sale just recently, and that is one of those things that you should not buy used. And talk about the reason for that.
So much like car seats, any type of protective wear like that, you don't know for sure if it has been involved in an accident. So if it has been involved in an accident, we shouldn't reuse it. Car seats are the same way. We should get new ones.
And I know some people would think, well, I would surely see a crack in it or something like that, but maybe it's on the inside where the cushioning is that would not protect you the next time around.
Yeah, and they're also susceptible to just your average wear and tear, and the years, it's plastic, a hard plastic, but the years of use, you just need to replace it just like everything else.
All right, so once again, never buy or use a used bike helmet, but every single person needs to have that bike helmet on. I know a lot of folks sometimes go, well, I'm just going around the neighborhood. What's the big deal?
Well, I mean, you never know when someone does not see you and they hit you. You can be doing everything perfectly fine, but someone doesn't see you, they hit you, or, you know, just anything. A dog runs out in front of you, a deer, anything that could cause you to suddenly have to hit the brakes, or maybe you hit something. You just never know.
All right, we're going to start taking your questions when we come back. We're also going to touch on grill safety and fire pit safety. You can text us at 336-379-5775. We'll be right back.
The other umpires are not on the field.
Hi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What you got planned for me here? Thank you. What's my weather situation? Yeah. Okay.
Want your question answered? You've got to send a text message. Take out your cell phone and type out your question. Then send it to 336-379-5775. Don't call. You must send a text message if you want your question answered.
We're back with Dee Shelton from the Greensboro Fire Department. All right, we've got a text question here that says, I have a gas pack for heating and cooling. Can I unplug my CO monitors during the summertime when the heat isn't running?
So even with like any kind of a home heating system, usually in the summertime, we're just cutting the thermostat back or switching to air, but usually your pilot light is still burning, and that is putting off carbon monoxide as well. So you always want to keep that carbon monoxide, that CO alarm plugged in, just to be sure.
Okay. Let's talk about some grill safety. I mean, I could smell all of the people doing the hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill during Memorial Day. Let's talk about Grill Safety 101. The biggest thing always is how close people usually have their grill to their house.
Location, location, location. So making sure in a regular residential setting, in a home, a single family home, you want to make sure that you have it at least 3 feet away from the home or anything that will catch fire, making sure there's nothing above you that it can catch fire, the eaves or trees or a tent, whatever. And be careful of being on a wooden deck with the railings as well. If you live in an apartment complex here in the city, or any of the townhouses where you've got the balconies, the tanks, the gas tanks, nor the grills are allowed on those balconies. And for the code, the fire code with that, it is a 10-foot rule instead of a 3-foot rule.
Okay, so no barbecues on any kind of balcony if you're in an apartment or that kind of thing.
Not here in Greensboro, no.
Not in Greensboro. All right, someone's asking for us to please repeat the phone number for the fire alarm changing by the fire department. Now remember again, this is for the Greensboro Fire Department. It's on the bottom of your screen right now.
And Tanya, even if they're not in Greensboro, if they're somewhere local, we can help them find their fire department.
Okay, and that number there is 336, of course, 373-2576. That's the Greensboro Fire Department smoke alarm hotline. That is specifically for those smoke alarms. If you got another issue, that's not your hotline. But if you want the alarm, that is the number. We're going to keep it up there for just a little while so you can screenshot it or take it down, whatever you need to do with that. All right, when we're talking about fire pits and things of that nature, too, those ones are a couple of feet from the house. Maybe they're way out from the house, but they're underneath trees. What do we need to keep in mind?
Yeah, again, location is huge, but those, because you've got embers that could float, the wind could carry those. You want those to be, I like for them to be at least 15 to 20 feet away from the structure. And again, making sure there's no wood line that's near you, keeping that cleared away because those embers could blow and cause a fire.
Okay. When it comes to summertime, what is like a common misconception safety-wise that people have?
Oh, wow. I think electrical, for instance, like right now, there's some storms coming across the triad, and I think a lot of people take for granted the lightning. If you're near water or in water, you need to get out of it. You need to heed that warning. I think that's one of the biggest ones for summer.
I think people always think to themselves, well, it looks far enough off and I just want to keep having a little bit of fun here.
Right, right. Need to move as quickly. As soon as you hear thunder, you need to be moving.
All right, and I know that October is normally when we talk about like the smoke alarms and things of that nature and making a plan. Saturday is Smoke Alarm Saturday, if any of you missed it, so that is statewide. But the other thing that you guys talk about when you talk about smoke alarms is having a plan. Why is it like such a big deal to actually rehearse the plan? Because I know some families are like, I don't want to scare my kids.
Well, I know if you're in a hotel, that plan is on the back of your door. You don't know that area well. But at home, you're not going to run and look at this plan that we try to teach you how to do. But you definitely, if you practice it, it's more of a tabletop exercise. If you practice it with everyone in the family, everyone is a little more secure and a little more sure of what they are to do if the fire happens. And you do that training pretending it's in one area, and then the next time pretend the fire's in another area, and just kind of work with the family. You can always set off your alarms, and it's a great time to test those alarms as well.
All right, and if you've got a 2-story house, you always tell people that you need more than one way to get out of the house. So if you can't go down the stairs, that means you're going out the window. So are
Absolutely.
we talking about a like roll-up ladder?
There are ladders in most of your hardware stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, those places. It's a specific type of ladder that attaches to your window and takes you out that window. They are meant only for emergency use, but there's plenty of those different models, different brands out there, but they're a great addition to your home safety plan.
All right. All right, so if you missed any of this information, whether that's the bike safety that they're doing tomorrow night or Smoke Alarm Saturday or any of this with the fire pit, the grill, whatever, all you have to do is look in the 2 Wants to Know section of WFNYnews2.com.
Tim Buckley here. Want to update you on the radar. Still tracking a couple of storms, mostly still in the western counties. We're talking about Yadkin, Surrey, Wilkes as well. Do have severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect. This one probably will expire in just a minute or so. If you're in Wilkes, things are improving. You have lots of heavy rain, lots of lightning, possibly some gusty winds as well. Haven't noticed any power outages there. That's good news so far. Yadkin, this is headed your way though. We're seeing it crossing Interstate 77. Dobson and Surrey is getting this as well. Really, this is torrential rainfall and it's going to cool you off. You'll go from around 90 into the upper 60s to low 70s. Another storm on the board. This is in Iredell County. Reason I'm showing that is because it's heading here. So Moxville, get ready. Davie County, get ready. You'll have a storm on the way with gusty winds, lots of rain, and possibly that lightning and hail that we've seen in some cases. Some counties do have this severe thunderstorm watch, which just continues until 9. It means we have a storm threat to watch, mostly just for lightning and damaging wind gusts. Most of these are not going to be all that strong, and most of us won't see them. They're very scattered. So if you're in Greensboro, you're in Asheboro, you're saying, when am I going to get a storm? You might not. The chance is only 30 to 40% at your house, so keep that in mind. Temperatures are still hot in most areas unless it's rained, in which case you are lucky and you got cool. Hoppers are trying to play a ball game tonight. They might have to dodge a storm or two, but they should be able to get the ball game in. First pitch temp is 88. Tomorrow's cooler, so is the weekend. Enjoy the outside.
We start with tragic situations on the water. A night out on the lake turned into tragedy for a family in Stokes County. A teenage boy. He went out swimming with his friends at Blues Lake last night. And a North Carolina wildlife official says that teen went out just a little too far without a life jacket and drowned. Just a few weeks ago, we had yet another water-related tragedy. A Guilford College student drowned at Tuckertown Reservoir after jumping off of a rock. Wildlife officials say the incident at Blues Lake reinforces why having a life jacket means so much. Madison rescue teams and High Point police helped with that search. A wildlife officer says help from other agencies plays a huge role when tragedies like this happen.
In dire times like this, it is paramount that we have the support of our community and the people who are willing to help, and the equipment that they are equipped with. It just makes the effort so much easier, and usually it allows us to get answers and some closure to the family a whole lot quicker.
Blues Lake has had several drowning incidents in recent years. Since 2014, one person has died every single year on that lake. Now, if you see someone drowning, sometimes your first instinct is to jump in the water and to try and help them. The Red Cross says you need to fight that urge or you too could end up in trouble. Instead of jumping in, the Red Cross says try throwing something like a buoy or a life jacket so they can pull themselves up. If you're close enough, you can try reaching out with a fishing pole or a tree branch so that you can help guide them to safety. About a year ago, we got another tragic reminder of how water outings can go very wrong in just a matter of minutes. A family of 9 had gone tubing along the Dan River. They went over a Duke Energy dam, prompting a weeks-long search. In the end, 5 people, including a 7-year-old, died. Survivors said they saw signs before the dam, but weren't really aware about the danger ahead. Now, following that tragedy, Duke Energy installed new warning signs, some in Spanish, and they made some English ones even larger than they were before. As people head back to the river this summer, Rockingham County officials want folks to stay aware of conditions and always take a cautious approach.
One of the most important things you can do is this, is even if you know how to swim and you're going to be on the rivers, a personal flotation device is probably one of the most important pieces of equipment that you can have on board.
Sheriff Sam Page says his office often gets called in because folks miscalculate where they are on the river. He says swift rescue teams train regularly and remain ready to deploy whenever needed. You know, even if you're a strong swimmer, things can get dangerous. The North Carolina Wildlife Commission says at least 10 people died in boating accidents every single year between 1981 and 2019. Hundreds of accidents happen. One woman lost her leg, and now she wants to raise awareness so it doesn't happen to anyone else.
You've seen the signs, you know the slogan, and now this group of law enforcement officers, along with advocates for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, want you to feel the impact.
I was run over by a drunk driver when I was 13 years old.
Alex Audie, the national president of MAD, says the boater who hit her nearly a decade ago was over 3 times the legal limit.
The boat hit me going over 60 miles per hour, threw me off the jet ski. I landed face down in the water. The boat went up over the jet ski and came down on top of my body before it sunk.
That drunk driving crash left her with several lifelong injuries, including losing a leg.
Your choices have consequences, and oftentimes those consequences are for other innocent people.
Whether on the road while under the influence,
they're having fun, they tend not to think about being safe as well.
Or on a boat, safety is still key. We took a ride on the lake with officers to see how their enforcement could be life-saving.
Can I see a type 4 throwable, a life jacket for everybody on board, and a fire extinguisher, please?
So the next time you're out enjoying the wind, the waves, and all the joys of a boat, keep in mind the potential drunk driving dangers too.
When there's no guidance on the waters, there's no brake lights, turn signals, or road markers, it can become a lot more difficult to operate a boat, under any sort of influence of alcohol.
NC Wildlife says if you drink on the water, you need to have a designated driver. That way it is more likely that everyone stays safe.
We just want to make sure that everybody goes home safe, and that's really where all of this starts, is ensuring safety to the public and an opportunity for everybody to enjoy our public water safely.
If you get caught boating while impaired, you could face a $250 fine. Now, some folks want to take a closer look at that penalty. They think it is too light of a penalty. We spoke with a North Carolina wildlife officer who thinks the penalty does need to be stiffer. Other states treat boating alcohol incidents the same way as they do driving ones. A DWI while driving a car can carry a much stiffer penalty. People can get fined thousands of dollars and face jail time, depending on how severe the offense is. Now, keeping kids safe while swimming, it is a top priority, of course, for parents. SafeKids.org shared tricks for teaching your child to swim and how to make sure that nothing goes wrong. The site encourages parents to teach kids how to float before they learn how to swim. That way they know how to keep themselves from going under. And you, the parent, can play a big role when they first start swimming. You keep them at arm's length away and do not get distracted while they are in the water. She says it's just as important you make sure that you have swimming skills. It helps teach your children and could come in handy down the road.
You just never know when you might be able to call upon your skills with swimming. And again, you know, I can't reiterate it more that if you don't know how to swim, put on a life jacket.
And she says if you're apprehensive, you got to get in the water, you got to try it, you might surprise yourself. A racial disparity, though, in access to swimming lessons and ability creates another risk for pool safety. The Consumer Product Safety Commission found a 24% gap between black children and white children in swimming ability. Now, the organization attributes the difference to generational ability. It says more black parents didn't have access to swimming lessons growing up, so they just never learned, and then they never taught their children, so that gap remained. The CPSC started a Pool Safely campaign to try and close that disparity.
Typically growing up in the African American community, there's not always going to be a pool down the street or in your neighborhood or around the corner that you can go and swim at. I think it's important for everyone to find a pool, learn the basics. Is that something that that African Americans and other minorities do on a regular? Probably not.
She says it's never too late, even you adults, to learn how to swim. You know, the good news here in Greensboro is that we have many places to take the kids. The Greensboro Aquatic Center, local YMCAs, and the city all offer swim lessons. Connecting kids with resources early can prove life-saving later on. WFMY News 2 at 6 is next.
Brad, mic check. I see Tom Cam, he's walking around. He looks angry. I don't know why Tom.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, can you explain the camera situation in a second? Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's called milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stacey Spivey, WFMY News 2.
When they call me, because I can't. Now, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, 1, 2.